What if one afternoon, while you're at home watching your daytime favourite, you get a phone call that your husband at the time has been accused of committing a serious crime? And what if you're the daughter of this man and you have to go to school the next day like nothing's happened? Or perhaps you were out the night before and you're the father of this man. These are all invisible victims of crime. Now, please don't get me wrong. I don't want you to take anything away from the direct victims, victims that have been hurt, who have been abused and mistreated. But they also have mothers, and they have fathers, they have sisters and brothers. What about them? Where's their voice? I'm here today to talk to you about them, to talk to you about us and about me. People that often go unnoticed because everyone thinks we can cope, but deep down we are crushed. People who look so strong on the outside, look like they have it all together, but deep down we're struggling. I want you to expand your thinking, your awareness, and even your compassion to those people who hurt too. Now, there's been an increase in the types of violent crime that has a significant harm to people. You'll see that there's been a 27% increase in gun crime. You'll see there's a 26% increase in knife crime. Sexual offences have gone up by 19%, and stalking and harassment up by 37%. Now, these are just some of the stats that have been reported and recorded. But there's no stats for the hidden victims, and their world has been shattered too. So I was like so many other people that suffered from the consequences of a crime not committed. I remember going to a supermarket. When I was in that supermarket, I saw two elderly women, standing and looking at a newspaper. And I remember looking over. And when I looked over, I saw a picture of my husband at the time on the front of the newspaper. And I stood back and I listened as they spoke in disgust. How could he do such a thing? How disgusting. And what about those poor kids? He should be castrated. And how did the wife not know? How could she not know what was going on under her own roof? And there I was standing behind them, watching. I remember my heart was beating fast. I was the wife of the man they said should be castrated. I listened in embarrassment and in silence. And I remember my eyes started to sting because they started to fill with tears. I didn't plan any of this, and I didn't want this for my life. Now, should I have said something to them? Should I have said that I had no idea what was going on? What would you have done? But I said nothing. I did nothing, and I stayed invisible. But they only said what other people had said to me to my face. Michelle, how did you not know? I was guilty by association. But their truth differed from my truth. My truth was that I tried to be the dutiful wife and to believe and trust in the one man that stole my heart from the age of 20. My truth was I didn't want to break our happy home and this idyllic lifestyle that we had created for ourselves. But the truth was I was traumatized. I was victimized and unaware that I had even become a victim. I fell into depression, and I struggled to be the mother I needed to be for my 4-year-old daughter. I remember I was in the bath one evening, and I came out of the bath and there's a mirror, and I looked at my naked reflection, and all this guilt just came over me, and I remember falling to the ground just crying in tears. And then all the stress of the whole thing, which was in the newspapers, which was on ITV News, it led me to developing a condition called enuresis. Now, enuresis is a condition where you have no control over your bodily fluids, which meant that when I was stressed, I used to wet myself in public. And my daughter, I had to fight for my 4-year-old daughter because the people thought that I was unfit. Now, this was so unfair because I was judged for not knowing. I was vilified for not seeing the signs. I was ostracized because I didn't control the actions of someone else. Now, does that seem fair to you? You see, how many of us have witnessed or heard about a crime? And the first thing we say is, where's the parents in all of this? Where's the fathers? Because we're always judging. We're encouraged to judge and make assumptions all the time. The mainstream media, social media, people, society, they influence the way we think, the way we feel, and how we judge, even though we have not been privy to the full details. But I decided one day when I was sitting in church that enough was enough. I refused to be a victim any longer. And I remember taking that pain and that shame, that guilt and embarrassment, and I turned it around into something good, into something great, where now I'm in a position where I can help both men and women become the best versions of themselves. And my daughter. I've left a legacy with my daughter where she has learnt to be limitless and fearless and not to be defined by other people's opinions. In his interview with Oprah Winfrey, the Zen Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, he encourages us all to show compassion in all events. And this is what I implore you to do too. We must refuse to normalize and make excuses for systematic victim blaming. And we should be led by compassion. Because we all hurt. We all hurt in different ways. But if we choose to be led with compassion, and if we judge less and to love more, there will be less invisible victims like me, and possibly like some of you, because our voices will be heard, and we will be counted. Thank you.